All right, today we are diving headfirst into one of the most important and, most controversial science fiction novels ever put to paper, Robert Heinlein's Stranger in a Strange Land. This is the story that literally gave us a new word, and it did it by challenging pretty much every social rule you can think of, all through the eyes of a man who was human, but definitely not one of us.
And you know, the book's legendary opening line tells you everything right from the jump. I mean, come on, that's not just a clever sentence. That is the entire story, the whole premise, packed into a few words. We're about to meet someone who is biologically 100% human, but his mind is so profoundly alien that he is, quite literally, a species all his own.
And just like that, the man from Mars comes home, to a world he was born to inherit, but a world he is completely, totally unprepared to even begin to understand. So who is this Valentine Michael Smith, really? Well, he's basically a walking, talking paradox. He was raised by ancient Martians, so his mind, his body, his whole way of thinking is fundamentally alien. Just picture this. Earth's gravity is physically crushing him, our air is like poison to him, and yet, because of a legal loophole, this incredibly fragile being is also the heir to a gigantic fortune and the legal owner of the entire planet Mars. Think about that. He is, at the exact same time, the weakest man on Earth and maybe the most powerful. Of course, all that potential power makes him an immediate target. He's weak, he's confused, so he's instantly scooped up and locked away in a high-security hospital. And you gotta understand, the government, they don't see a person, they see an asset, a thing. He's a prisoner who needs to be managed because he holds the key to the future of space. So, Smith's journey from being this scientific curiosity to a full-blown cultural force, well, it can only begin when he breaks out of that hospital. The moment he's out in the real world, his real education starts, an education in the absolutely baffling, chaotic, and often ridiculous ways of humankind. And this, right here, this is the heart of the whole story. Smith's Martian world is built on total shared understanding, what he calls grokking, and these unbreakable bonds. Martians literally have no concept of jealousy or ownership. To them, death is just a change. And then you drop him on Earth, a planet that runs on misunderstanding, on ownership, on mine, and is terrified of death. It's like trying to run two completely incompatible operating systems on the same computer. It's destined for a crash. Now, to really get this story, you have to understand this word, grok. It's the absolute pillar of Martian philosophy. Grokking isn't just knowing something with your brain. No, it's about understanding it so deeply, so completely, that you and the thing you're observing become one. It's empathy taken to its most literal, absolute extreme. Smith isn't figuring all this out on his own, though. He has two absolutely essential guides. First, there's Jill Boardman, the nurse who helps him escape. She becomes his first water brother, his first real, true connection to another person. And then there's Jubal Harshaw, a brilliant, cynical, fiercely independent writer, doctor, lawyer, a total Renaissance man. He becomes Smith's protector and his teacher, constantly challenging him to question everything about this weird new world. And as he's learning all these new things, Smith keeps repeating this one phrase over and over: I am only an egg. It's his personal mantra. It's his way of saying, I know I don't know anything yet. He recognizes that he's incomplete, that he has to hatch into something new before he can truly understand, let alone change, the world around him. You see, Smith's journey isn't just about him learning. His very presence forces humanity to take a long, hard look in the mirror. And what we see reflected back in his completely innocent eyes is, well, it's often absurd, corrupt, and just dripping with hypocrisy. And here's a perfect example. To control the public story and keep their grip on Smith, the powers that be do something just incredible. They hire an actor, put him on TV, and broadcast a completely fake interview with the man from Mars. It's pure, shameless propaganda, and it's a brutal lesson for Smith. For these people, the truth is way, way less important than power.
Jubal Harshaw, of course, gives us the story's sharpest commentary. This quote right here, this is pure Jubal. He truly believes that people don't actually want to be saved. He thinks they'd rather stick with their comfortable misery than let anyone try to actually make things better. It's a deeply cynical view, for sure, but it's one that Smith is eventually going to put to the ultimate test.
And here's another classic Jubalism, just cutting right through all the self-serving nonsense of authority. Anytime someone says they're doing something for your own good, Jubal sees it for what it is,
an excuse for control. He is the ultimate defender of the individual against anyone trying to help them against their will.
So, all of this, it all builds to the book's major turning point. After watching and learning and observing, the student, the egg, he finally hatches. Smith decides he has to stop just learning about humanity and start changing it.
I mean, his evolution is just staggering when you lay it out. He starts as this helpless patient, then becomes a fugitive on the run. Under Jubal's guidance, he doesn't just learn the crazy rules of human society, he actually masters them. And finally, he fully embraces his own unique power and becomes a teacher, a prophet with a radically new message for the world.
This is his real moment of awakening. He finally groks. He fully understands that he's no longer a nestling, just waiting for others to feed him ideas. He gets that at every critical moment, every cusp, the choice is his and his alone. He finally accepts the full weight of his own free will.
So, armed with this brand new sense of purpose, Smith returns to the world. But he's not a student anymore. He's the founder of a completely new way of life, and it's all wrapped up in this one simple, incredibly powerful phrase.
He starts the Church of All Worlds to teach his Martian philosophy. And the core belief? It's simple, but it's radical. Thou art God. Divinity isn't some old man in the sky. It's right inside every single person. His followers practice sharing water to grow closer, forming a nest, where the main goal is to get rid of humanity's most toxic poison, jealousy. You can see how these ideas, written back in 1961, became a blueprint for the whole counterculture movement, questioning everything from traditional religion to monogamy to authority itself.
And this quote from Smith himself, it really gets to his core motivation. He isn't doing any of this for power. It's all driven by this overwhelming, fundamentally Martian need to share. He's discovered this incredible connection, this ecstasy, and his first and only instinct is that he has to give it away. To him, the very idea of keeping it for himself, of being possessive about love or wisdom, that's just a kind of wrongness he can't even comprehend.
And that really brings us to the question the novel leaves you chewing on. By using a true outsider, Heinlein forces us to look at our own world, our rules, our religions, our relationships, and ask, what parts of this are real and necessary, and what parts are just habits? Habits we've forgotten how to even question. If a truly objective observer looked at us, what would they see as our single greatest flaw? And more importantly, would we even be capable of fixing it? That's the real challenge of the man from Mars.